we're going to go back some years into the past here, and we're going to talk about a pretty cool, Sith named Darth Nihilus. Now, what I'm going to be talking about in this video is basically how powerful is Darth Nihilus. For those who don't know, I first discovered him myself from Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, which I think came out in 2004 for the Xbox, and I think for the PC sometime later. And now, what this video is going to consist of is pretty much, I'm going to be ranking kind of like how powerful he is basically. I'm going to talk about his dueling abilities, his endurance, and just things like that. Then we'll give you a conclusion of how he ranks up somewhat at the end of the video and all that good stuff. Now, Darth Nihilus, he is one of the most powerful Sith, but he is also one of the weakest in comparison to the other legendary Sith. Now, Darth Nihilus is one of the most powerful Sith, but also the weakest in comparison to the other legendary Sith. My fellow friends, this will be a pretty interesting analysis. He also goes by the name of the Lord of Hunger, a guy who would most likely drain you to death, and is basically a black hole in the Force. This is Darth Nihilus. So we're going to first talk about his dueling abilities. Alright, I'm going to be a little bit honest with you here. Darth Nihilus is not the best duelist compared to the other legendary Sith before and after him. Also though, he was defeated by his own apprentice in a basic lightsaber battle, not off to a great start. He mainly relied on his first and last option, which was Force Drain, but we're going to talk about more of that a little bit later. Now, not saying he can't fight properly in a duel, but compared to Jedi and Sith in duels, he ranks as high as Ashiko Tano, if I'm saying that correctly. Now, his Force abilities, as I mentioned earlier, Darth Nihilus mostly studied the more discreet Force abilities. He learned Force Lightning, Force Push, and stuff like that. But his main ability was Force Drain. He was so skilled and so mastered at Force, various techniques like this, he could literally kill planets and commit mass genocide of them. But Force Drain does have a few weaknesses. If you are immune to the Force or wearing armor with a material that is immune to the Force, you basically counter it, and then, you're pretty much more powerful than he is, since he relies on Force Drain so much. Now, even with that said though, his Force Drain mastery puts on equal footing with Yoda or, Darth Sidious, aka, Palpatine. Now, his endurance. Now, Nihilus' endurance it's kind of laughable compared to the other Sith, because if you just cut him, at his torso or anywhere like that, he's pretty much going to die. Fire is going to burn up. Even just stabbing him would almost kill him. As I wanted to point out though, his clothes is his body, so basically anything sharp could almost put him down if he wasn't careful. So overall, Darth Nihilus' endurance is just sad. And what it is, a lot of people don't know, is he is somewhat of a shell. Like his robes it's him. The mask, I believe it's the mask that harnesses his Force energy, and somehow over many years of like Force Drain and stuff like that, he became corrupted and it kind of overtook him basically. Now, how it came to be, that'll be a whole other video, and I don't really get too much into that, but you pretty much get the idea. Like, if you would cut his mask in half, or you cut the mask in general, you're going to really hurt him. So in conclusion, Darth Nihilus, he is pretty powerful. He's a pretty powerful Sith, but, he relies too much on his Force Drain, so much that it's going to resolve basically in his death somewhat if he fights somebody who basically he can't really harm. Now, Darth Nihilus is weak, as he is strong. It's an interesting case, like I was saying earlier, about how his body is formed. So, it is pretty interesting. And for those who played, Kotor 2, he really doesn't have a voice, because I guess, like I was saying, he's just a husk of a man that used to be. The backstory of him is pretty cool. I'll probably get into that later. But like I said, in this video here, we're just kind of ranking how powerful is Darth Nihilus, and it really is, even in the game and stuff like that, he relied so much on, Force Drain and just things like that. Anybody really could best him in a battle if his apprentice was able to, strike him and whatnot like that. But if you enjoyed that video on, learning about how powerful, Darth Nihilus is, I think he's a pretty cool character, regardless. He's kind of a badass, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of him. Maybe you might like somebody else. I plan on doing a few other ones. I know I got We'll talk about Darth Vader, how powerful he is, Revan, and probably just a few others that I'm going to be looking into a whole lot more. But as always, it's a Sith Lord 7. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you later.